Hello students, in animal kingdom there are 11 phylums starting from phylum Porifera to phylum Chordates. So every phylum has got some unique characters. It's difficult for the students to remember all these characters. So sometimes you may confuse, you will mix one character with the other and all. So just I have devised a simple method to make people understand and remember all these easily. So now we do two phylums, that is phylum Cnidaria and phylum Porifera, right? So just look here. So this is phylum Porifera. So this name is with 8 letters, and poriferans are also known as sponges. Next, phylum Cnidaria. This is also with 8 letters. So both phylums are with 8 letters. So I made 8 characters, right? So let's study one character, how you can identify or you can remember these particular animals to which phylum it belongs to, right? So first look here, poriferans. So poriferans are also known as sponges. So first, habitat. Habitat is the place where the animal live. So poriferans, these are mostly marine and few are freshwater. So few are freshwater. An example for a freshwater sponge is Spongilla. Remember this example. First example already you have learned it. Next, coming to the second character, symmetry and organization. So sponges, this is the first phylum in the animal kingdom. So symmetry, these are mostly asymmetrical. And all animals are multicellular. This is the first multicellular phylum. So organization is cellular level. Got it? So 2 characters are done. Next, unique character. Every phylum has got some unique characters. With that unique character, you have to remember the particular phylum. So first, sponges. As I said, poriferans are also called as sponges. They are called pore bearing. Porifera means presence of pores on the body. So the unique character for all these is water. Water canal system is the unique character of all these phylum members. Now what is it? In water canal system, water enters into the body with the help of several pores present on the animal body, and these pores are known as ostia. So because of several ostia, the phylum is called Porifera. Ostia are called as incurrent pores through which water enters into the body. Next, from ostia, the outside water, that means the surrounding sea water, enters into the body. Now in the body, this water moves in different channels. We call them as canals. And all these canals open into a central cavity of the sponge body, which is called spongiocele. Now from spongiocele, water go out of the body with the help of a single opening, which is called osculum. So this is how the water keeps moving in the animal body. So this is something, a unique character for all sponges or poriferans. Remember, water canal system, right? Now here I said spongiocele is the central body cavity of the sponges. Now this entire spongiocele from inside, it is lined by specialized cells which are called choanocytes. So choanocytes line the spongiocele. Please remember, these are flagellated cells which can also be known as collar cells. 3 names are given to this. The choanocytes are also known as flagellated cells, also called as collar cells. They line the spongiocele, the central cavity. So with the movement of the flagella, the water pulsations can be seen in the sponge body, right? Next, so coming to the digestion. So here I said all these are with cellular level of organization. So there are no tissues, no organs, nothing, only cells. So digestion occur inside the cell, which we call it as intracellular digestion. Simple. Next, and also the digested food also they can store. So here there are only cells. Cells only perform all the functions. Digestion is performed by the cells, gametes are formed by the cells, protection is done by the cells, everything is with the cells. There is division of labor among the cells. This is what you call cellular level. So reserve food is stored in some specialized cells. We call them as thisocytes. So food storing cells are called thisocytes. Next, respiration. How respiration is done? Just by canal system. Look, In canal system, we have discussed that the water from outside enter into the ostia. From ostia, water goes into the entire body and then finally come to the spongiocele. So what all the water that is entering into the sponge body, this water carry the oxygen, and cells utilize this oxygen and release carbon dioxide into the water. When that water leave the body through osculum, the carbon dioxide is sent out. So this is how the canal system helps in respiration. Same excretion is also performed by canal system. Same, what all the nitrogenous waste materials that are formed in the cell, all these nitrogen waste materials are released into the water, and this water, when it leave the body, so it is carried out. So canal system is responsible for excretion. Next, another interesting thing is skeleton. Sponges have skeleton. This skeleton is in the form of spicules or spongin fibers. So here, what you have to remember is spicules are skeletal structures, like how we have bones which form our endoskeleton. So here they have spicules and also spongin fibers. The difference is spicules are made with either calcium carbonate or silica, whereas spongin fibers are proteinaceous. They are made of protein. There are some specific cells are involved in formation of these spicules and as well as spongin fibers. Spicule forming cells are called as scleroblast cells, right? And the spongin fiber forming cells are called as spongioblast cells. Next, coming to the last character, reproduction. So in sponges, reproduction is both asexual as well as sexual methods. This is asexual. Asexual reproduction occurs by a simple method called fragmentation. Next, coming to sexual reproduction. In sponges, they are hermaphrodites, bisexual. Means inside the sponge body, there are cells which can produce both sperms as well as eggs, right? But still, self-fertilization does not occur in the sponge body. So always it's a cross fertilization. So, and the canal system helps in the cross fertilization. Gametes are carried from one sponge to the other sponge through this water canal system. So water canal system also helps in reproduction. So water canal system performs like your respiration, excretion, nutrition, provide the nutrients, and also it is involved in reproduction. So it carries the gametes, right? So there is cross fertilization, and fertilization occur inside the body of the sponge. So this is what you call internal fertilization. And next, development is indirect. In any animal during its development, if larval form is present, then we call it as indirect development. So in sponges, in poriferans, there is a larval form. So development is indirect development. Guys, that's all. These are the 8 characters for sponges. Easy to remember. Just it takes not more than 5 minutes for you people to learn, right? Habitat, mostly marine and few are freshwater, like Spongilla is a freshwater sponge. Asymmetric and cellular level, water canal system is present, and ostia, spongiocele to the osculum, choanocytes line the spongiocele. Next, digestion is intracellular, thymocytes store the food. Next, respiration and excretion are performed by canal system. Skeleton is present in the form of spicules or spongin fibers. Spicules are made of either calcium carbonate or silica. Spongin fibers are proteinaceous. Next, reproduction is both asexual and sexual reproduction. And asexual reproduction is a fragmentation, and sexual reproduction takes place by fusion of gametes. And sponges are hermaphrodites, cross fertilization, and fertilization is internal inside the sponge body, and development is indirect, which includes a larval form. That's it. Next, we see next phylum, that is Cnidarians. Look here, habitat, same habitat even for Cnidarians also. So these are mostly marine forms and very few are freshwater. Example is Hydra. Hydra is a freshwater Cnidarian, and whereas here Spongilla is a freshwater sponge. Next, what is a symmetry? In Cnidarians, the symmetry is radial. And what is the organization? Here the organization is tissue level, cellular level, tissue level, asymmetrical, radial symmetry. Next, what is a unique character? So look, the phylum name is Cnidaria. This is so called because these animals or this particular phylum, they have specialized cells. We call them as cnidoblast. Cnidoblast is also called cnidocytes. Because of presence of this cnidoblast or cnidocytes, this phylum name is called as Cnidaria. Clear? Next, this cnidoblast or cnidocytes, they have a stinging cell, or this is actually, they have a stinging capsule inside. The stinging cells have stinging capsule, which is called nematocyst. Those stinging capsule actually contains venom called hypnotoxin. So this hypnotoxin will be released from these cells for defense, right? Next, where exactly these cells are present? Now these cnidoblasts or cnidocytes are present on tentacles, and they have diploblastic body construction, outer ectoderm and inner endoderm. Even on the ectodermal layer and also to some extent on the endodermal layer, these cnidoblasts or cnidocytes are present. Now they perform several functions, like cnidoblast or number one, they are responsible for defense. They help in defense. Next, they are useful for anchoring, attaching to the substratum. There are some cnidarians which are sedentary sessile forms. We call them as polypoid forms. For those polypoid forms, the attachment is done with the help of these cnidoblasts. Next, also for capturing prey. Because they are present on the tentacles, tentacles are useful for capturing the prey. So for capturing the prey, they use these cnidoblasts. So cnidoblasts perform all these functions. That is the unique character of this phylum, right? So remember, cnidarians are with cnidoblast, right? So the exclusive character of poriferans is water canal system, and for cnidarians it is or cnidocytes or the unique character. Fine. Next, coming to the digestion. Cnidarians, they have a central body cavity which is called coelenteron. Because of presence of this coelentron, the earlier name for this phylum was Coelenterata. So Cnidaria can also be called as Coelenterata because of presence of this coelentron. Coelentron is also known as gastrovascular cavity. So digestion occurs inside the body, inside this cavity, and also the transport. So that is the reason it's called gastrovascular cavity. Next, so here mouth is present on the hypostome in front of that cavity. So through the mouth the food is ingested, and when once the food enters inside, first digestion partially occurs inside the cavity, and the complete digestion occurs inside these cells called endodermal cells lining this cavity. So digestion is called both extracellular. So digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. Remember, this is something unique for this phylum. So first, extracellular digestion which occurs in the gastrovascular cavity, and intracellular digestion in the endodermal cells. Clear? Next, respiration and excretion. So both occurs by diffusion process through the body wall, right? So there are no specialized characters, nothing over there. Next, coming to skeleton. As I said, in cnidarians, there are some sessile forms which we call them as polyps. They form corals. So coral is actually an exoskeleton which is composed of calcium carbonate. So this is what is a skeleton in case of coral forms. Next, coming to last, reproduction. Here also same, both asexual as well as sexual reproduction occurs. right? Asexual reproduction occurs by process called as budding, and in sexual reproduction is fusion of gametes. We call it as syngamy. But in some cnidarians, there are some unique features are present. So let us we'll discuss those unique character of cnidarians. Some of the cnidarians are cylindrical forms. Those cylindrical forms are called polyps. Polyps are cylindrical forms. Take an example of Hydra. Hydra is cylindrical form, which is polyp, which is actually sessile. But Hydra shows somersault movement also occasionally. It is not a completely sessile. If you take completely sessile animal, Adamsia, sea anemone is polyp, it's completely sessile. Next, polyps give rise to medusoid forms by asexual reproduction. Not in all, in some of them. We see the example. So polyp, which is sessile form, cylindrical form, give rise to medusa. Medusa is an umbrella shaped form. It's a saucer shaped form. It's a free swimming form. That's the difference. So some of the cnidarians are cylindrical. We call them as polyps, and some cnidarians are umbrella shaped, which are called medusoid forms. They are free swimming forms. Like this is a jellyfish, take an example, and this is your Hydra or Adamsia. That's the difference in the basic body forms. But in some cnidarians, what happens is polyps undergo asexual reproduction and form medusoid forms, and these medusoid forms undergo sexual reproduction and form polyps. So asexual and sexual reproduction alternate in the life history of some cnidarians, not all, some cnidarians. This is known as alternation of generations or metagenesis. Remember this character for cnidarians exclusive, right? So alternation of generations, or this is called metagenesis, where in some the polyp and medusoid form alternate in the life history. Where do you find this? This is found in Obelia, which is commonly called as Seafer, right? So this is something speciality in case of all cnidarians. Next, coming to the development, here also development is indirect. So remember, in both development is indirect. So almost all characters or many characters are common between both the phylums. You have to remember like this, right? So you just don't write anything. Just write down this 8 characters, because I said 8 letters, 8 characters you remember, right? What are they? First is habitat. Second one is called symmetry and the level of organization. The third is called unique character. What is a unique character in poriferans? Water canal system. Here unique character is cnidoblast. Next, digestion, respiration, excretion, skeleton, and last, reproduction. That's it. It's the easiest way to remember all this. Next, in the last, we discuss some examples. 3 examples. This is called Cycon, Euspongia, Spongilla. This is Scypha, bath sponge, freshwater sponge. 3 examples for Porifera. Next, coming to cnidaria, there are examples like, first already we have discussed the freshwater form, Hydra. Hydra is called freshwater polyp. Number 2, Adamsia, sea anemone. Number 3, Obelia is called Seafer. Physalia is called Portuguese man of war. Pennatula is sea pen. Gorgonia is called sea fan. Main rhina is called brain cooler. Right? So guys, these are the 7 examples for cnidarians, 3 examples for Porifera, 10 examples.